welcome back to Kidmin Talk number 124. This is your host, Carl Bastian, coming to you from Kidology.org. Today's podcast is sponsored by Zonder Kids and the amazing Visual Bible. I'll be telling you a little bit more about that in a little bit, but I just want to welcome you to the show and let you know about something new that is coming in 2020 that I am super excited about. But right now, you are in the midst of Christmas planning. You've got you're up to your eyeballs. It probably feels like earballs in Christmas planning. So I just want to take a little bit of time to just kind of hang out with you and let you know that 2020 is coming and encourage you with just a few words, express some thanks to you, celebrate with you. I'll tell you why in just a minute as we dive into this amazing 124th podcast here on Kidmin Talk. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, sit back, relax, and let's hang out a little bit here on Kidmin Talk. Are you ready? I'm ready, and I'm excited to spend a little bit of time with you. Well, I, first of all, just want to start out this podcast today just expressing some thanks to you. You know, you may not know it, but this month, December 2019, marks the 25th year of Kidology. That's right. I have been at this for 25 years. I've been at children's ministry even longer than that, because if you've heard my testimony, you know I got into kids ministry literally as a kid. I love telling that story, and I'll share the long version other times and other places. But when I was a young kid, I saw a children's evangelist at our church. I went home, I said, "Mom, that's what I want to do when I grow up." And my mom said, "What's growing up got to do with it? If God's called you into children's ministry, you start next Wednesday." And I was like, "Next Wednesday?" I said, "When I grow up." Well, I started in kids ministry the very next week with a puppet and a magic trick, and I've been doing it ever since. But Kidology was created in December of 1994. It actually came out of a discipling relationship with a young junior hire that showed me this thing called the internet. Now, you got to understand, Google didn't even exist. PayPal, YouTube, none of those existed. And I was playing around this internet thing, and God had already clearly given me my life mission when I was 19, that I existed to enlist, equip, and encourage others in children's ministry. That's the second half of my life mission statement. And it just hit me like lightning. And I know what that's like because I've been hit by lightning. You all know that story. And that this was the way I was to do that. And so, boom, I had started this little website. And in the next podcast, I'll be telling you about something really cool where you can read more about the story of Kidology and the journey over the last 25 years. But I'm not supposed to give that away until the very next podcast. So don't miss podcast number 125 when I'll be officially celebrating the 25 years of Kidology. Well, today's podcast is sponsored by the Zonder Kids. In the last podcast, I told you about the Jesus Storybook Bible. That's for young kids. The visual storybook or the visual Bible for kids is for your older kids. Now, I've got the leather version here, and this is what I use in kids' church on Sunday when I'm teaching. This is an incredible video. If you're watching this podcast through one of the video channels, Instagram or YouTube or on Facebook, then you can actually see it here. It's called a visual Bible for a reason. It is just loaded with pictures and charts and things that will grab kids in. We all know that kids are highly visual and they're pulled into things. I've always said that it ought to be a sin to bore a kid with a Bible, to give a kid a Bible that's boring and hard to read. In fact, I say that from the platform in my own church. I tell my parents, please do not give your kids a Bible that's hard to read and boring. What are you trying to communicate to them? That God and His Word is boring and inaccessible? Invest in your kids by giving them a Bible that will engage them and that will draw them in and will get them exciting. And so I love this visual kids Bible. I teach from it on Sundays, so the parents kids will ask me, hey, what Bible is that? And then I tell them about it. I even have a little flyer at our kids check-in with Pastor Carl's recommended Bibles, and I have the Bibles that I like the best and where to get them with links. And I try to make that accessible to parents. And this is a new one that I've just discovered this year. And I'm super excited to make you aware of it in case you're not already. They've got a hardcover version that's very colorful and fun. But I like this synthetic leather, bonded leather, whatever it's called, because it looks really cool. And right on the cover, it says Holy Bible, and it's got the cross. So I recommend you pick up one of those and teach with it on Sundays. Well, I want to tell you about something new that's coming in the new year, but I want to preface it with one of my Kidminisms, a saying of wisdom that applies to children's ministry. And here it is. You ready? My Kidminism for today is that we never grow alone. We never grow in a vacuum. If we want to grow in our ministry, we need to surround ourselves with others who also want to grow. And I want to create an opportunity and a situation where you can catapult your growth in your ministry in the next year. And so I'm going to be launching something next year called Kidology Master Classes. And this is something I'm not planning to do it on a grand scale. I'm actually planning to do it in a small group setting. I want to pour into a small group of you in the new year. Now, what I've done is I've taken my book that was published last year, called Kidology's Ultimate Toolbox for Children's Ministry. And I always joke about that title. I go, that was a lot of pressure to write the Ultimate Toolbox for Children's Ministry. I joked, couldn't it be like the kind of sort of okay toolbox for kids ministry? But it really is an ultimate toolbox. It really does cover comprehensively everything you really need to know to lead a children's ministry. It goes through personal tools, leadership tools, training tools, teaching tools, outreach tools, organizing yourself, your ministry, training and recruiting. And it's a workbook that you write in. It's got margins that you can, and it interacts with the website. I don't want to take a lot of time to tell you about this, but to say that when I got this, my own copy of my own book in the mail, and I started looking at this, I was like, that's going to sound funny coming from the author, but I was like, man, I need to read this book. This is good stuff, which I know sounds crazy for the author to say it's a good book. But what I mean by that is head knowledge is one thing. Applying it is another thing. I bet any of us could teach, even write a book on how to lose weight, right? Does that mean we're all in perfect shape? No, because the head knowledge doesn't mean that we're automatically applying it. I can write the book on kids ministry, but that doesn't automatically guarantee that I'm doing everything in this book in my own ministry. I know it means I'm a hypocrite, right? No, what it means is that I don't grow alone. All right. I don't grow in a vacuum. And I know if I need that, and I wrote the book, then I know other people need that too. And so what I want to do is I'm going to be going through this book through a series of master classes next year. The first one's going to start out in January, and it's going to be called Thriving in Ministry. We're just going to go through the first section of this book, and it's going to be about making yourself who you need to be to thrive in ministry. There's plenty of leadership books out there. We're going to get into leadership. But if you are not healthy, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not in balance and you're not organized, you are going to struggle in ministry. And eventually your ministry is going to stumble. It's going to be crippled, and there's going to be big problems because it all starts with you. And so it is a 6-week course. Now it's designed really as a 4-week course, but I know ministry is crazy busy, and sometimes there's a week you're not going to be able to do anything. And so I've expanded it to a 6-week course. There's going to be webinars. There's going to be a private Facebook group where I will pour into you and we can interact with each other. And as iron sharpens iron, I'm going to learn from you as much, I hope, as you're going to learn from me. And we're going to use this Marco Polo video chat app, but that's optional. Not everybody's into that, but it will give you direct access to me. And we're going to sharpen each other, and we're going to learn, and we're going to lay a foundation for the rest of the year. And then there's going to be additional master classes for the rest of the year. We're going to go through leadership development and improving our teaching and our training and our outreach. And it's going to be a phenomenal year, but they're not going to be back to back. I have really prayerfully engineered this year to where there's going to be breaks between the classes. And in fact, you don't even have to take all of them. You may decide just to take different ones, but I'm also going to really discount the future ones for the people who are already in them, because I want to prioritize those who are really going to work through the material in this book. So you just need to get the book. If you buy the print version, which is what I recommend, you can write in it and mark it up. You get the digital version free, which is like a $45 value. And if you sign up now, and if you're a member of the website, you get a discount on the class. It's an investment in yourself. And I can assure you, we are going to grow together. And as we dive into this first section on personal tools together, it is going to be starting out the year great. And then we're going to have a phenomenal year. And you're going to see personal changes in yourself. You know, I use the analogy of construction throughout this book because kids ministry is a construction site. And it's a construction site that, this sounds crazy, but it's never done being built. The plans are always changing. The resources are always changing. The budget's always changing. You've got to get comfortable wearing a construction hat and understanding that you work in an environment that is a little chaotic. And so you've got to develop a sense of that peace that passes understanding. So regardless of the chaos and the noise and the dust, you know, and the things going on around you, that you, can I use a Star Wars analogy because it's coming out this week? You have that peace, that calm, that you're in control, even though everything around you might be a little nuts. All right. You will not grow. You may have the best of intentions of New Year's resolutions and goals, but as we go through this together, a small group of us, we are going to grow together. We're going to challenge each other. We're going to hold each other accountable. I am going to be a better kids pastor because of going through this book and this material with you. And as we challenge each other, and don't be intimidated by accountability. None of us are going to, be perfect, but we're going to be better because we grow better together. So go to kidology.org/masterclass. Check it out. This is the first course on thriving in ministry. Before we get to all that leadership and teaching and training and outreach and all those other exciting things, we're just going to work on us. Because if you're healthy, if you're in a good place, if you're organized, if you have balance, if your family is happy, then you're going to be happy, right? If the wife's not happy, nobody's happy. If the husband's not happy, the kids aren't happy, nobody's happy, right? We need to have that balance. So I am so excited about doing this. I'm going to be closing it when I get to a decent number of people in the group. I don't want it to be huge. And so jump on it. Make this your Christmas gift to yourself. Go to your pastor, show him the book, and say, hey, I'm going to have a coach and a group that are going to help me to go through this material. And I'll be surprised if they won't invest in you as a way in this new year for you to take your ministry to the next level. All right. I am so excited about these new master classes. And so I hope that you will join me in 2020 in these Kidology master classes. Just go to kidology.org/masterclass and you can read more about it there. You can sign up there and be sure you jump in before it's closed. All right. And then I'll follow up with you on email. You're going to have my cell phone number. We're going to be connected and we're going to grow together. Thanks.